The Taliban is marking Afghanistan's Independence Day, calling it a celebration of freedom from American rule. But the first signs of defiance to the group are also emerging. Several people have been killed in the city of Asadabad. Witnesses say Taliban fighters fired on people waving the national flag a day after 3 people were killed in a similar protest. Thousands of people continue to wait outside the gates of Kabul airport, trying to flee. Many say they do have visas for a foreign destination, but they simply can't get in. Fighters have fired occasional shots to disperse crowds. India, Australia, France and Germany are among countries that have deployed planes to Afghanistan. At least 8,000 people have been evacuated since Sunday. Simon Marks joins us live now from Washington, D.C. for more. Simon, Joe Biden said he stood squarely behind his decision on this U.S. pullout. But despite all the chaos, he's still refusing to acknowledge any mistakes.
Yes, absolutely. I was just looking at the full transcript that ABC News has now published of the interview with Joe Biden that they began to run last night, in which, again, he says that he has no regrets, that it was always going to be messy getting out of Afghanistan, and he absolutely doubles down on the central decision to withdraw American troops. But at the very end of the interview, in a section that they have not yet broadcast, he says, "I think the American people are with me." And that, at the end of the day, is going to be Joe Biden's ultimate gamble here. And it's a wager that he's placing at a time when this crisis in Kabul is not over yet. There are still scenes of tremendous volatility outside Kabul airport. The Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin yesterday insisted that he doesn't have the forces available to send soldiers out onto the streets of Kabul physically to extract Americans who want to get out and to escort them through Taliban checkpoints. The American embassy telling American citizens that they cannot be guaranteed safe passage to the airport. And that's before we get to all of those tens of thousands of Afghans who have supported America and its allies over the last 20 years and who now want to be evacuated. And President Biden, in that interview last night, indicated that he might give the military operation a little bit longer to get American citizens evacuated from Kabul. He made no similar promise or guarantee to the tens of thousands of Afghans who face an even more perilous path to that airfield.
Simon, of those Afghans who might want to make their way to the United States, is there even a plan for resettling them?
Well, this has been an issue that has been shifting constantly over the last 3 months. And over the last week, they have, to a tremendous degree, been making it up as they go along. We are now told that 2 army bases here in the United States are going to be used to house thousands of Afghans, if indeed they can be removed from the country and brought to the United States. There are a handful of Afghans beginning to arrive in America, flights taking them to various cities. The governor of Utah has offered his state as a haven for tens of thousands of Afghan refugees. He says that it was established as a state that would always be welcoming to everyone, regardless of their religious faith. So he has stepped up. The State Department is recruiting hundreds of volunteers to engage in the legal process of advancing these applications for special immigrant visas, the so-called CIVs, that have languished within the State Department and the Department of Homeland Security for weeks leading up to the crisis that engulfed Kabul last week. So there's a process, but it's a process that is opaque to many of the people in Afghanistan who are still trying to avail themselves of it.
Simon, thank you very much for that update. Simon Marks there in Washington, D.C.